If calorie counting actually worked long term, women wouldn't still be stuck and dieting wouldn't have a 80 to 95% failure rate. Because this is what I see all the time. Women weighing every gram of food, tracking everything in an app, doing the if it fits your macros approach and still feeling hungry, still feeling exhausted and wondering why the weight isn't moving despite treating their body like a machine. So in this video, I want to explain something that most people completely miss, which is fat loss is not just about calories. It is about hormones, metabolism, and the types of food that you eat. Here's the problem that I have with calorie counting. It assumes your body is a calculator, but humans are not calculators. Two women can eat the same number of calories and get completely different results because of bio-individuality. Some people have more muscle mass, some move more during the day, and some have a faster or slower metabolism. And some have a different hormonal response to certain types of food. But one of the biggest factors, especially for women, is insulin resistance and hormone health. So this is where calorie counting really falls apart because someone who is insulin resistant reacts very differently to food than someone who isn't. And considering insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome is one of the most common health disorders in countries eating a Western diet, it is not just a tiny population of people that are struggling with diets that don't tackle insulin resistance as the core problem. For example, a woman with insulin resistance might eat a sandwich and her blood sugar will spike through the roof. I've seen this in my own mum when she's worn a glucose monitor. Her body releases a lot more insulin, which means more of that energy gets pushed into fat storage instead of being burned. But another woman, like, maybe like myself, who has healthy insulin sensitivity, more muscle mass, and as a result of that, a faster metabolism, might eat the exact same sandwich and handle it completely differently. And this is something that I see all the time with women who have got PCOS, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, or some kind of metabolic dysfunction. Their bodies are already dealing with hormonal dysregulation. So, diets that are only focusing on eat less, move more, or if it fits your macros, completely miss the real issue here. Because if you don't change the types of foods that are driving your insulin resistance, you're never fixing the underlying problem. And this is why in my coaching, I teach women how to eat for hormone regulation, not just eat less food. Another thing that I see happen all the time with women who have got some kind of hormonal issue is that they will try and fix it by slashing their calories, doing more cardio, and pushing harder, thinking that if they just lose the weight, then that's what's going to improve their hormones. But when your body is already under stress, especially with conditions like PCOS or thyroid problems, this can make things worse because this is going to be increasing cortisol, and cortisol has a massive impact on insulin. When cortisol stays high, insulin is becoming more dysregulated. Blood sugar also becomes harder to control, and fat loss becomes much harder. So now you're in this cycle where you're eating less, you're moving more, but your hormones are now working against you, which is why so many people just feel stuck. And here's the thing that people don't really understand: your body is either burning fat or storing fat. And the switch that controls that is insulin. That's why I talk about it so much. Insulin literally tells your body whether to lock fat away for later on or to unlock it to be used as energy right now. So, if your insulin is constantly elevated, whether that be from ultra processed carbs, constant sugar spikes, or stress hormones like cortisol, your body is going to be staying in that fat storage mode, and no amount of calorie counting fixes that. It's been really interesting to see in real life just how much my blood sugar goes up and down when I'm under stress. For example, my blood sugar rose to over 13, which is considered hyperglycemia just from riding a horse. And I ride regularly, but it's very taxing on my body still. And my cortisol and adrenaline go through the roof during that kind of stressful workout. And it's really cool if you strap a glucose monitor on and you can actually see that happening and you go, huh, wow, there's a very physiological change happening from this thing that is making me nervous, or I guess making me stressed in my brain. It's leading to a full body stress. Another thing that calorie counting ignores completely is satiety. When you eat meals rich in protein and healthy fats, your body releases hormones like leptin, cholecystokinin, and GLP-1. These hormones signal your brain that you're full. And this is why GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic work so well for food noise. At the same time, that meal that's high in healthy fats can also help to reduce ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. But when most of your diet is high carb, ultra processed foods, Unfortunately, you're going to be spiking insulin, then crashing later on, and then you end up hungry again. And that's why controlling hunger and satiety works so much better than obsessing over calories. Your body can naturally regulate itself and fuel itself properly. Another reason calorie counting doesn't really make sense to everyone is your gut microbiome can impact how many calories you absorb from the food that you're eating. Research has shown that people's gut bacteria allow them to extract more energy or less energy from the same foods than when compared with other people. This is due to the, I'm going to pronounce these wrong, firmicutes and Bacteroidetes that are the two dominant bacteria types in the human gut. Their balance is heavily involved in fat metabolism, energy harvesting, and body weight regulation. So, two people can eat the same meal and still get different results simply due to their gut microbiome. Your body isn't a math equation. There's so much more going on than just how much you're eating. And here's something that really pissed me off when I found out about it. Food companies can legally have a 20% inaccuracy on their food labels. So you could be weighing everything and tracking everything perfectly and still be off, which is another reason why relying purely on calorie counting is so frustrating. And if you want proof of how powerful insulin is, there's a really extreme example. So some people with type 1 diabetes actually will withhold their insulin so they can eat more without gaining weight. This is an eating disorder. It's called diabulimia. It is very dangerous, but it shows how directly insulin controls fat storage. This is why I don't teach women to obsess over calorie counting. Instead, I teach them how to stabilize their blood sugar, improve insulin sensitivity, support hormone balance, reduce hunger naturally, and eat in a way that works for their body. Because when hunger is controlled, fat basically starts to burn on autopilot because your body is regulating itself. I actually had a friend approach me after implementing some of my diet advice, and she said, I lost 8 kilos in 2 months. Like, should I be worried? For context, she wasn't trying to lose fat. She just wanted to clean up her nutrition. And I asked if she's feeling hungry, exhausted, or getting any negative impacts from the weight loss. And she said, nope, she's feeling great. She's just rarely hungry. She feels full after every meal, and she's even hitting new personal bests in the gym. So I said I wouldn't worry about it too much. The weight loss, like being so fast, her body is simply regulating itself. And now she's leveled out to a point that her body is really comfortable at. And just a few days ago, she told me that she's never felt more confident or comfortable in her body. And not a single calorie was counted to get that result. So, if you're realizing that you might have been focusing on the wrong things, I have created a free webinar where I break down the biggest fat loss mistakes that women are making right now. You can access that resource in the link below. And if you want some more help with your nutrition, you can also check out my coaching below. And during this video, I talked a lot about why calories don't matter, but I didn't really talk too deeply about the specific foods that could be lurking in your diet that are actually holding you back. So, if that interests you, then you will love this video I did about the 7 healthy foods that are secretly blocking your fat loss. And remember, the goal here is not to be spending the rest of your life counting calories. The goal here is to build a body that actually knows how to burn fat. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. I'll see you in the next one.